Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If becoming a mangaka in One Piece world. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 761, The Invincible Blackbeard. Chapter's events. Captain Buggy. Do something. Hell no, idiots. Buggy was extremely annoyed at this moment, not knowing what to do or where to take Straw Hat Luffy. Something's in the water. A ship. At that moment, a huge thing appeared in the nearby waters, catching the attention of the pirates and the escaping prisoners. A submarine. Whose is it? The submarine gradually emerged, revealing the symbol on it. It was the Heart Pirate's emblem. Buggy, who had a clearer view from above, was also surprised. Bring Straw Hat over here. A voice came from the surface of the submarine. The Straw Hat. Ah. Who are you, brat? But Buggy didn't care. He wanted to know who this person was. Straw Hat might be an enemy of mine, but we still share a bond. It'll only be boring if he dies here. The person who appeared in the picture was Trafalgar Law. We'll get him out of here. Leave him to me. I'm a doctor. That's Trafalgar Law. Oh my god, I didn't expect him to show up in a war like this. Although he's not the best doctor out there, he's the best option right now. This is great. You still share a bond? What kind of bond? That's a weak reason to save someone you consider an enemy. Ha ha ha. It's fine as long as he saves Luffy's life. They won't be enemies anymore but allies. Luffy would never consider him an enemy. That's right. Just go, save his life. This scoundrel Buggy. Why is there such a delay? Quickly hand over Jimbei and Luffy to Trafalgar Law. The readers in the art store in Flebens were extremely excited at this moment, just like most readers around the world. Not far away, in the country's palace, Chris and Mary were looking at Trafalgar Law, who had just emerged from his submarine, the determination to save Luffy clear in his eyes. Well, as expected, only the D can determine the fate of another D. It's Trafalgar D. Waterlaw, my son. He has more than one bond with Luffy. Saving him is a duty. Saying that, Chris smiled, having already anticipated that his son would go to Marineford. With a beautiful smile on her face, Mary was holding their little baby up, looking at him with eyes full of love. You will grow up to be a great doctor, my dear. A pirate doctor? It doesn't matter, as long as you are my son, it really doesn't matter what you become. Seeing this beautiful scene, Chris's smile deepened more and more. Well, since Luffy will leave this war in my son's submarine, let's see where things will lead. It seems like this war is still ongoing despite the objectives being achieved. It looks like the powerful ones in the Marines don't care about the ordinary soldiers who keep dying. Marineford. Is that Trafalgar Law? What's he doing here? Sengoku felt a bad omen when he saw the Heart Pirate's submarine. It looks like Luffy will be saved, Zephyr smiled. That only makes sense. Do you think the protagonist will die like Ace? Added Tsuru without expression. TSK. I thought my counterpart could really do it. Sakazuki was annoyed to see his counterpart surrounded by Whitebeard's pirates and Crocodile while Luffy was being handed over to the submarine. His escape would be easy after that. The next scenario became highly predictable. Well, it doesn't matter. If Straw Hat escapes, the remaining Whitebeard pirates won't be able to. At least it will be a thorough and satisfying extermination. I want to see Crocodile crushed under my fist as well. And that rude villain Blackbeard. Does he think just because he has 2 devil fruit powers he can do whatever he wants in Marineford? I want to see his end at my hands. Sakazuki's eyes widened after seeing the island of Marineford rise and fall amidst other water islands separated by Blackbeard's quake power. It looked like a scene from the end of the world. How? Can he really control this power? He just got it. Impossible. Sakazuki wasn't the only one shocked by this scene in the manga. Sengoku and the rest were also stunned. Meanwhile, Kuzan and Borsellino had left some time ago to control matters at Impel Down. Calling all Marines. Split up to pursue the Whitebeard pirates and to take down the Blackbeard pirates. These were Sengoku's orders. More Marines are coming. There was an underground passageway. The fight between the pirates and the Marines escalated to fierce stages, with death everywhere on both sides. Wayawa. But at this moment, the ground under people's feet tilted, and the land and seawater turned into tilting plates as if placed on loose sand rather than solid ground. Say ha 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 ha. Blackbeard laughed evilly, responsible for this devastating earthquake. Gaia, the waves. You-wah. The Marines lost their balance and fell one by one. Zihahaha. What an incredible power. But I still can't control it well. Ha. Hey, Captain. If you're too reckless, we won't have any place to stand. Jesus Burgess was terrified. How about that, Sengoku the Buddha? Garp the hero. Can you stop me? Blackbeard began mocking the two who were facing him. Your age is over, just like Whitebeard's. Say ha ha ha. This is fun. Amazing. This power. I've always coveted it. This incredible power. The ability to destroy the Earth's plates. And move them at will. The destructive power is equivalent to thousands of explosive bombs in a single punch. I can even destroy the entire world and sink it under the sea with this power. Zihahaha. I want it. I want it. I want it now. With it in my hands, I can end the era of Whitebeard, Sengoku, Garp, and even Roger and Rob. Well, Captain, you must be very excited. Hearing that, Shiraya sneered. Zihahaha. Let me dream. For the dream fuels my destiny. And it fuels my power. Far from any urban area, in the calm belt, young Marshal D. Teach was dreaming. Sabaody Archipelago, Art Store. Can this power even affect our Sabaody Archipelago, hundreds of miles away from Marineford? That's terrifying. It looks like there's a real tsunami coming in the manga. Does that mean Whitebeard was controlling his power to avoid involving nearby islands in the conflict? Blackbeard doesn't care about such details. Look at the real fear on the faces of Sabaody Archipelago residents after hearing about the incoming tsunami. This is scary. With this power, Teach will become far more dangerous than the peaceful Whitebeard. Then why this war? Doesn't allow Blackbeard to escape alive mean a loss for the Marines, the world government, and ordinary people alike? Teach is so evil. No doubt he will cause indisputable destruction to ordinary people if he becomes a Yonko. If he escapes alive, he will become the Pirate King, let alone just an emperor. Man, in a world without Rob, the dual-power Blackbeard is an invincible man. Not only the readers in the Sabaody Archipelago could see this truth, but all readers worldwide could understand the situation now. It seems like this war won't end anytime soon. Blackbeard is going to sink Marineford. Chapter 762, Continuation of the Chaos. Chapter's Events. Hey, Kobe. What's the matter? Seeing Kobe in pain, clutching his head, Helemepo felt worried. Ha. I don't know. It's sad. Sad. Oh, Inside my head, the voices are disappearing, one by one. Kobe appeared to be suffering at that moment. Ha! A Marine soldier, after being shot by a pirate, fell but was caught by another soldier before hitting the ground. Hang in there. You'll live if you get treated. Then another higher-ranking soldier came, shouting. Leave him. We're in the middle of a battle. Toshiji watched this scene silently. Go after the pirates. Crush every last one of them. One of the extremist vice admirals ordered. They still want to fight. The Marines have achieved their objective, but they're fighting even harder now. Seeing this left Toshiji feeling helpless. Justice. Evil. What's the difference here? Smoker was equally helpless. They've won. But they thirst for more. I won't forgive the evils of piracy. Akainu was enraged while fighting the Whitebeard pirates. Meanwhile, Blackbeard was even more frenzied. Nobody can stop me now. I'll destroy everything. Engulf everything. Not far away, Buggy was still flying, carrying Luffy and Jinbei, but at that moment, he was hit by a warning laser. The color drained from Buggy's face upon seeing the explosion on the horizon caused by the attack that missed him. Why don't you just drop Straw Hat Luffy, said Kizaru. It's Kizaru. Trafalgar Law was surprised. All right. Take him. Whoever you are. Best of luck. Buggy did as Kizaru said and threw both Luffy and Jinbei onto Trafalgar Law's submarine. Grab him, Jean Bart, ordered Law. All right, good, cheered Beepo after catching Luffy. We're going to dive. At the Marine headquarters, the fleet admiral was contemplating the manga pages with cold eyes and a regretful expression. It seems we have taken a completely wrong direction, lives are being lost in vain. Who will stop this madness? Tsuru's lashes trembled as she spoke with an inexplicable pang of pain in her heart. What a mess, as if Akainu's violent spirit has possessed everyone. Zephyr added with regret. We've participated in many wars over the years, they ended at some point but never continued after achieving their objectives. He added. Do you think this war is over? Seriously? The Whitebeard pirates are still there. And the more evil Blackbeard is still there. Sakazuki shouted in anger. Sakazuki, this doesn't explain our reckless use of force at this stage. We are pushing lives to eliminate lives that have already surrendered. So what? Those bastards must all fall. Sakazuki shouted and threw the book aside in agitation. That boy Kobe, he must have awakened the sensitive observation haki as he feels the extinguishing of many lives at once, he must be suffering. Tsuru felt sorry for Kobe. I bet he will do something amazing. Zephyr's eyes shifted quickly from one scene to another, confident that something would happen. And it did. Whole Cake Island. Inside the art store, Lean's children were immersed in the excitement of the events. This shows us how alliances can change in the blink of an eye. This manga is full of surprises. Charlotte Paraspero said cautiously, contemplating the developments. Katakuri was reading calmly, commenting realistically, Blackbeard and his new power. He is a real threat. We should see how this ends. Charlotte Daifuku whispered in a low voice, we will see how this chaos ends. It would be great if Mama were involved in this war, we would definitely see our counterparts there. Charlotte Oven was more interested in seeing his future counterpart than the events of the war. Mama. It seems Kizaru was determined to prevent Luffy from escaping, well? Isn't this the perfect moment to appear? Red-haired? Mama. Lin did not expect the interconnection of events to be so precise and wonderful. As if the future of this world was meticulously planned. Sorbet Kingdom. Back at the Revolutionary headquarters, inside the art store where all the Revolutionary Army members were currently gathered, Garp was reading the chapter with a proud and relieved smile. Luffy always finds his way to survive. Trafalgar Law, you are truly amazing. Dragon next to him looked at the manga seriously and attentively. Don't you think Kizaru can stop this? Someone will stop Kizaru, no need to worry. Garp smiled. Hearing that, Dragon smiled, the world in the manga is changing fast. The war is over, and an entire era ended with it. With the dawn of a new era, new alliances will emerge that may be the key to changing the current system. Boahaha. And this old man's era has also ended. He seems so old he can't even push Blackbeard down, and he's just a kid who consumed Newgate's power. It seemed Garp was mocking his old counterpart at this moment. Ace's death must have affected him greatly. He no longer has the ability to do anything, although I see he could take down Teach here if he wanted to. But then he began to explain why he believed he did nothing. Crocodile was reading quietly, Blackbeard, that bastard. Someone needs to stop him. Let the younger generation do that, Garp replied to Crocodile's words. Ivankov was cheering enthusiastically. How exciting! Law saves Luffy, what a hero! Oh no! Kizaru is close to stopping him. Is that so? Kuma, despite his silence, was watching the events carefully and thoughtfully. This? Kobe? At this moment, Garp's eyes widened upon seeing what Kobe did. East Blue, Log Town. In Log Town, a man with pink hair was nervously browsing the manga. Kobe is so cowardly, but he challenged his fear to stop such a monster? What is he saying? Could he really have chosen to sacrifice his life to say these words? What a man! Stop, Akainu. Don't do that. He is a marine soldier, you know. One of the villagers looked at the pages and said, "This battle will never be forgotten." The Marines are in chaos. From one to another, readers in Log Town were highly excited just like the rest of the readers around the world, but the next scene left the readers completely silent. What happened after Kobe's brave intervention left readers with their mouths wide open in absolute shock. Near the coast of Log Town, in the famous Baratai restaurant, Zeph was reading the manga with his crew in tension. Luffy is safe, that's good. But Blackbeard, what a threat. Patty was preparing food but couldn't resist looking at the pages. Won't this war end? Before he could finish his question, the pan fell from his hand and his jaw dropped. Red-haired. Central Prison on Hunter's Island. In the cell, Shiki was reading the manga and laughing loudly. Teach, you have acquired the power you aspired for. But can you control it? From what I remember, even with his distinctive hybrid blood of giants and humans, Newgate couldn't tame this power except by training for a very long time, and with each use, it strained his muscles to the point of collapse. Moria was watching the events with excitement and worry. This war won't end easily. There must be a balance between power and madness. Shut up, what do you know? Arg. Moria got kicked again. Fishman Island. In the art store, Jimbei and Fisher Tiger were following the events with endless enthusiasm. Especially after seeing the small and cowardly human who bravely stopped Akainu. Now I understand why this chapter is titled, A Few Seconds of Courage. Fisher Tiger said with a smile. Chapter 763, A Few Seconds of Courage. Roger left the house filled with memories and walked under the sky. The overcast clouds had been blocking the sunlight since morning. Roger smiled, and sparks flew from his eyes. From his position, a massive burst of Conqueror's Haki exploded, splitting the clouds in the sky. As if the sky itself was divided, the clouds started to scatter little by little, and sunlight began to shine once again. Roger walked under the warm rays of the sun, enjoying the refreshing sea breeze, and even more so, he enjoyed flipping through the final pages of the manga. Do you know that courage in a moment like this comes at a high cost that must be paid? But still, you decided to move forward and say what you wanted to say even if that cost was your life? Interesting. Wahahaha. The future is full of brave boys. Roger's eyes sparkled more and more with each word Kobe said in his moment of fervor, or his seconds of courage as the chapter title suggested. At the decisive moment, Roger's eyes widened and his smile grew broader. That's fantastic, Roger said. Chapter's events. He's got a terrible wound. Is he still alive? Holding Luffy, Beeple was shocked at his condition. Hurry, Law urged his companion to hurry up. Straw Hat Luffy. The Surgeon of Death, Law. Sitting on the sail of a ship, Kizaru gathered a yellow beam at his fingertip, ready to eliminate the two names he had just mentioned. Damn it, before Law could act, everyone heard a desperate scream. Stop it. Kobe blocked Akainu's path and spread his arms to stop him. A Marine. Both Marco and Law were surprised. Akainu's brow furrowed. Just stop already. We can stop fighting now. Kobe cried out, tears streaming down his face as he faced Akainu. Who's that? The pirates wondered. Stop throwing lives away. Kobe could no longer bear seeing everyone dying without doing something, so he threw away his fear and stepped forward to stop Akainu. The soldiers are dying, one by one. They have families waiting for their return. We've done what we came to do. We're chasing pirates who don't want to fight. We're fighting a pointless battle. Kobe continued to wail, saying all this. We're abandoning the soldiers who could be saved. We're sacrificing even more lives. Then isn't it as if the soldiers who fall now are just idiots? Kobe. Garp was shocked after seeing this and hearing what he said. Who the hell are you? You've wasted a few seconds. The Marines have no need for soldiers who don't believe in justice. Akainu mocked Kobe's words and moved to kill him. Ha. Oh, God, I'm going to die. But I've said what I needed to say. Seeing the magma fist coming directly at him, Kobe thought in his heart. I have no regrets. Before Akainu's fist could hit him, it was blocked by someone's sword. Sparks of Conqueror's haki spread around, causing Kobe to faint. You did well. Young Marine. Standing in front of the art store in Batarilla, Roger was astonished by the scene where Shanks saved Kobe from Akainu's magma fist. If only you had been a little earlier, you could have saved Ace. Roger wiped a tear from his eye and entered the art store smiling. Inside, the atmosphere was extremely heated, as Shanks' arrival after what Kobe said was a massive shock. The readers were incredibly stunned. Shanks arriving at that exact moment was extremely thrilling. This was Shanks we're talking about. One of the four emperors and the person who was the reason Luffy went to sea in the first place. Holding the manga book in his hand, young Shanks' eyelashes trembled as he saw the scene where he intervened to save Kobe. This is amazing. Shanks was astonished. Finally, after losing hope that you would come, finally, you are here. Why is he here? Ace is dead. Old Whitebeard is also dead. For what purpose is he here? To save this Marine boy? Oh man, how disappointing. Buggy sneered. I'm disappointed too. I wanted him to come much earlier, but it seems that was just a dream. Don't worry, boy, better late than never. At that moment, young Shanks felt a warm hand patting his head, which was wearing the straw hat. It was Roger who said that. Captain Roger. You're here. Shanks was surprised, but then he remembered the sad scene of Ace's death in the manga and sighed sadly. Is it true? My counterpart let Ace die in some way. That has nothing to do with your counterpart. Ace died because of his recklessness and immaturity, but well, he lived a good life despite it being short. Roger smiled. What a wonderful intervention. Rayleigh smiled too. Amazing. I want to see that sword of yours embedded in Akainu's but... Saying that, Gabon flipped the pages madly to see what he desired. Wahahaha. I too wish to see such a scene. Shanks laughed. But unfortunately, it seems this war will end here. The few seconds of courage you were prepared to give your life for. Whether for good or for bad, after blocking Akainu's fist, Shanks began to speak calmly. Have greatly changed the fate of the world. Hurry! Take him inside. After regaining his focus, Kizaru found he could still target Luffy, who they had not yet managed to escape. As he prepared to act, he felt a terrifying haki locking onto him. Hold it right there, Kizaru. Beckman pointed his gun at Kizaru, saying that. Ooh, whoa there, Ben Beckman. Kizaru raised his hands obediently. That ship. Why is it here? One of the four emperors is here. It's red-haired Shanks. Marine soldiers retreated in fear. Shanks picked up the familiar straw hat and held it from the ground. I came to end the war. Just a few words made the reader's skin crawl all over the world. This scene caused numerous reactions across the global forum and in reality. For him to say he came to end the war means he is stronger than everyone present. Is he really? On Sphinx Island, Whitebeard wondered quietly. Well, I don't know. Rob replied with a smile. You don't know? Garararara. What a joke, if the author of One Piece doesn't know, then who will? Whitebeard laughed at Rob's joke. Whitebeard's sons focused on this conversation. They all wanted to know if Shanks was truly that strong, stronger even than their father, or just a fool. You see. He's not a fool, even if he's not that strong and confident in defeating everyone. Who would want to fight another Yonko after just finishing off an extremely powerful one? You have a point, said Whitebeard. Well, what an entrance. I really feel envious. The young are truly the strongest and the most magnificent, he added. Ha ha ha. Don't say that, everyone knows how magnificent Whitebeard is, even as an old man. Chapter 764, Red Hair Pirates. Chapter's events. Red Hair. The man who led Luffy onto the pirate's path. Seeing this man, Garp ground his teeth in hatred. Sengoku stared silently. It's the Red Hair Pirates. He was fighting Kaido, one of the other 4 emperors, just yesterday. And now he's already here. The marine soldiers were shocked by this turn of events. Buggy. Shanks threw the straw hat towards the floating buggy, saying, Get that to Luffy. Straw hat. Buggy questioned in confusion. I have this treasure map I was going to give you. Seeing Buggy's hesitation, Shanks concocted a lie he knew Buggy would fall for. Really? Wait just a second, I'll get it to him. And that's exactly what happened. Boss. It's been 10 years, aren't you going to see Luffy even once? Suggested Lucky Roo. Yeah. I'd sure like to, Shanks said nostalgically as he recalled giving the hat to Luffy for the first time. I'll give you this hat. Captain. I know it's rare to see one of the 4 emperors, but if we don't go, the gate will close. Leaning against the submarine gate, Law seemed to be waiting for something. Yeah, wait, something's flying this way. Law caught the straw hat Buggy threw at him. Make sure you return it to me when you become a great pirate. These were the words Shanks told Luffy after giving him the hat 10 years ago. But if I saw him now, you would be breaking your promise. Right, Luffy? Meanwhile, everyone was sitting on the edge of their seats, reading the last chapter of the volume. How did they know it was the last chapter? Well, it seemed like it was the last 2 pages indeed. Who would have thought this man would come after everyone knew he was stuck in a blockade with another emperor, Kaido? Did he finish him that quickly? Does this mean that Kaido isn't that impressive? Well, who knows what really happened, the important thing is that Red Hair Shanks is here. Thank goodness Luffy was saved, and he even got his hat back. Put. Ha ha ha. Buggy is so stupid he fell for Shanks' lie. Well, they are old friends, so it makes sense that he knows how to trick him. In the art store at Ohara, the atmosphere was a bit happier this time after everyone had cried due to the bitter end of Ace and Whitebeard. What surprised many was that Shanks had a huge popularity among readers, which multiplied at this moment. For this man to come to a massive war like the Summit War and say he wants to end it. What kind of metal is he made of? Professor Clover wondered. No wonder, he was under the command of the Pirate King, he inherited the qualifications of a king from Roger, Vegapunk replied with an excited expression. Look at the cowardly expression on Akainu's face. It looks like he swallowed a fly. Isn't Shanks also a pirate? Why did you stop rampaging, you filthy dog? Saul mocked, hating Akainu's character ever since the Ohara flashback when he burned the passenger ship with many innocent people on board. Yah-ho-ho-ho. Not just him, the 3 admirals are unable to do anything, look at the miserable movements of Kizaru and Akiji. Brook also mocked the inability of both Akiji and Kizaru to stop the escaping submarine despite their immense abilities. The picture is clear now, Homing smiled after seeing Shanks and his crew's straightforward challenge to everyone. Whoever still wants to fight, step forward. This part of the chapter was his favorite. And he was not alone, it was the favorite for many. Mihawk's eyes sparkled after seeing a certain scene in the chapter. Well, does your counterpart's retreat mean cowardice or that they are acquaintances? Daffy's smile seemed annoying to Mihawk. Isn't your counterpart also a Shichibukai? Why doesn't he go and fight them then? Mihawk questioned. Well, it seems that fighting any longer is no longer fun. My counterpart has already had enough fun. Daffy retreated from his mockery. Red Hair knows how to talk. Isho smiled, admiring Shanks' eloquence. Amazing. Rosinante's eyes sparkled like stars, it seemed like he had found another idol besides his teacher. Shanks was indeed such an impressive character. Why are they all so scared? This man hasn't shown any skills yet. Enel was puzzled by this scene, feeling like everyone wanted to stop the battle as soon as this red-haired man arrived. Well, these are the benefits of great power, Isho explained. I see that. Your counterpart escaped from my counterpart, didn't he? Worororo. What a coward. On Urura Island in the New World, all the beast pirates could hear Kaido's loud laughter. What's up with this man and his crew? Why did they arrive so quickly? The amazing thing is that they say he stopped my counterpart from reaching Marineford and then came after that. Do you believe this nonsense, King? I mean, I could understand if the person who did that was the Sky Sword Rob, but who could this man called Red Hair be to stop me? It seems he has great respect from Fleet Admiral Sengoku, Kaido-san, King said. You lied about the treasure map. Why, you? Buggy exploded in anger after realizing he was deceived. Yup. Long time no see, Buggy. Shanks responded with a welcoming smile. What do you mean by that? Did you forget I've got a bone to pick with you, Shanks? How dare you use me? Just like their younger selves, the familiarity was evident between them, surprising the prisoners Buggy had freed. Did you see that? I saw. He's talking back to one of the four emperors, the Red Hair. The prisoners were crying tears of joy. Captain Buggy. We'll follow you. For our entire lives. But wait. If I stick with these guys, I'll be able to get out of here safely, right? Buggy seemed wiser than expected. Red Hair. Marco called out. Marco, quickly withdraw your men and don't retaliate, Shanks suggested, not noticing Vista and Yassop staring at each other in clear annoyance. Hawkeye. Where are you going? Mihawk sheathed his sword and began to leave the battlefield, catching the attention of the Marines. I agreed to fight with Whitebeard, but Red Hair wasn't in the agreement, he said coldly. Hunter's Island. What do you think? Then Beckman looked at Yassop and asked with a smile. Amazing for sure. It seems our counterparts as pirates are enjoying their time. Yassop replied. Do you see that? What? Look here. This scene is almost unclear. Yassop squinted towards the scene Beckman pointed at. In the scene where Marco and Shanks met, right behind Marco, Vista and his counterpart Yassop were glaring at each other in annoyance. The colored scene in this manga was clearer than the regular version. Well, it's obvious that there would be conflicts between different crews, right? Vista is strong, but in front of my counterpart, he could only die if he wanted to. Yassop scoffed. Far from the New World, in the South Blue at Batarilla. Ha ha ha. Buggy was easily deceived by my counterpart. Shanks burst into laughter after seeing the scene of him tricking Buggy. You scoundrel! Even after growing older and gaining some fame, you are still as shameless as ever. Anyway, I will always owe you a treasure map. Buggy exploded in anger. Didn't Luffy give your counterpart Captain John's treasure map and impel down? Why is your counterpart so greedy? Ha! I don't care about such things anymore. Now I am greedy for power. Believe me, I'll kick your ass someday. Stop it. Ouch! Both Buggy and Shanks received a painful punch to the head from Roger, making them instinctively stop fighting. This last chapter is very important, let's analyze it calmly, guys. Roger smiled. What do you think of these events? Roger asked, looking at his crew. It seems that the spirit of our crew has manifested in the Red Hair Pirates. Rayleigh smiled. Shanks is doing a good job protecting the world order, isn't he? Gabon added, smiling. Wahahaha. As expected of our wonderful trainees. Chapter 765, The End of the War. The end of the arc. Chapter's events. Any further conflict will only increase casualties on both sides. Shanks continued to speak loudly, but this time he drew his sword and pointed it at Sengoku. But if anyone still wants to go, bring it on. We'll be your opponents. In the picture, the Red Hair Pirates appeared together, ready to plunge into battle at any moment. Seeing this, the Marine soldiers swallowed nervously. How about it, Teach? No. Blackbeard. Shanks glared at Teach with dark eyes as if he wanted to tear him apart alive. Zee-ha-ha-ha. I'll stop for now. I got what I came here for. It's still a little early to be fighting you guys. Teach turned to leave and signaled to his crew. Zee-ha-ha-ha. Let's go, men. Seeing this, Sengoku's expression darkened, not wanting to see these villains leave the war alive. Shanks looked at the bodies of Ace and Whitebeard with regret before saying, Everyone. Right now, help me save some face. Whitebeard, Ace. We'll take care of their burials. This battle was broadcasted to the entire world. I won't allow anyone to desecrate their memories. Shanks seemed determined in this matter, which angered the Marine soldiers. What? Taking their heads will show the Marines victory. No matter. Vice Admiral Doberman was interrupted by Sengoku. Fleet Admiral. Since it's you, Red Hair. I'll take responsibility for it, said Sengoku. Thanks, Shanks thanked him before heading towards the bodies. Sengoku nodded and looked around. Quickly, attend to the wounded. The war is over. He then announced loudly. Thus ended the greatest battle since the opening of the Great Pirate Age. The Battle of Marineford was carved deeply into history. It's over. Yes, it's over, and the one who ended it is your counterpart. Is that great? Certainly, it's great. But why don't I feel that way, Captain Roger? What do you want to feel? Roger smiled, asking. I don't feel that my counterpart did something as great as they say in the forum and as ordinary readers here say, Shanks said sadly. I feel he should have saved them. He then added. Well, maybe if he had arrived earlier, it would have been a different story, but surely this war wouldn't have ended, and maybe many more would have died before it was over. You have to look at things from a slightly different perspective. Newgate himself didn't unleash his true powers, because if he did, he would have taken millions to the grave. He's a good man. Roger smiled as he remembered his clashes with Newgate before he became the Pirate King. Every encounter almost ended in a bitter battle. As for Ace, his death was bitter and hard to accept for everyone. I left my wife crying at home, as you know. But well, that's what had to happen, and everyone has to accept it. What happened has happened. Your counterpart's arrival on the battlefield was all it took to end this war. You should be proud of that and strive to be like your counterpart in the future. After saying that, Roger looked from Shanks to Buggy before laughing. Wahahaha. And you, Buggy, who would have thought you'd become so funny in the future? Hearing that, Roger's crew burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. Ja ha ha ha. Da ha ha ha. Buggy is our legend. Wahahaha. At this point, ordinary people began to leave the art store in Batarila and return to their lives after spending almost half the day in the art store. Help me save some face. Who still wants to fight? I'll fight you. Ha ha ha. Teach ran with his tail between his legs. Even Sengoku respects Shanks a lot. What does he mean by saying if it's you, red hair, I'll take responsibility? I smell something fishy. Never mind that, man. When's the next volume? I want to know Luffy's condition. I can't wait to find out what happens next. This war will have very profound effects. On their way out, readers who had already closed their volumes were discussing the final scenes of the war, which were still fresh in their minds. Ohara. The same scene in Batarila was repeated in Ohara. Most readers left the art store excited, but a few remained behind. I didn't expect this to be the end, Clover sighed, commenting. Ya ho ho ho. Me too, the red hair pirates are terrifying. Are Luffy and we supposed to overcome this man and his crew to get the One Piece in the future? Brook laughed, asking. Who said that? Maybe Shanks and his crew have a deeper role than just obtaining the One Piece. Clover replied calmly. What do you mean? Could there be something more important than the One Piece in this world? Hearing that, Saul and the others wondered. We recently discovered that we live on mountain peaks. The real world is submerged in the depths of the sea. Clover said nonchalantly, then added. Do you think the desired end of this world's story is as simple as obtaining the One Piece? The One Piece is the real world. The eyes of the people who heard that widened, except for Vegapunk, who remained very calm. Is the saga of the Summit War over with this? On Sphinx Island, Whitebeard asked quietly. No, there is still one final arc, a concluding one for the saga, Rob said, smiling. Just like in Batarila and Ohara, everyone was leaving the art store and returning to their normal lives after enjoying the greatest arc they had ever seen, as most of them said. As expected, there is still more. Whitebeard smiled. Seeing this smile, Rob also smiled, as did the Whitebeard pirates. That boy, red hair, he did a lot. He's a good character, isn't he? Hearing his father's words, Marco smiled and nodded. That's right, our counterparts must be very grateful to him. For saving them and retrieving the bodies of the father and Ace is a favor that cannot be repaid. That's right. The Whitebeard who died would be very relieved if he knew what happened. Now, shall we go? Whitebeard finally stood up from his seat, stirring awe in the hearts of his sons. If the old Whitebeard had died standing in the manga, the young Whitebeard was still standing tall and more vibrant than ever. Had this place not been the respected art store, it would have been destroyed under the crushing aura of this man. Hearing their father's order, the Whitebeard pirates and the affiliated crews responded enthusiastically. Yes, Oyaji. The scenes of their counterparts in the manga reflected in their eyes. Some were dead like Little Ors Jr. And others were crying and defeated like Marco, Vista, and Jozu. Others were bitter, not knowing the meaning of life anymore, like Squardo. But they all shared a common feeling. Endless hatred towards two individuals who also existed in this world. Teach. Akainu. Are you ready to face my wrath? Whitebeard opened his eyes, sending an imperceptible shiver in his sons' hearts. Seeing this, Rob smiled. I think if they want to survive this, they must leave this world, right? Considering the number of strong people who will chase them. Chapter 766, A Glimpse of the New Volume. Chapter 30 of Tensei Shirtera Slime. The volume ended, but the excitement and enthusiasm of the readers did not. Instead, it only doubled. As the days sped by, readers worldwide felt the urgent need for the new volume to be released as soon as possible. A week later, the day arrived when the teaser for the final volume of the Summit War saga appeared. Luffy was seen standing with his eyes closed, holding his hat to his chest in a final farewell to Ace. Similar scenes occurred around every art store, where people stopped and stared strangely at the murals on the art store exteriors. They felt a familiarity with the place where Luffy was standing. Could it be that he has returned to Marineford again? Ordinary people thought it was impossible, even the more knowledgeable ones felt somewhat confused about the matter. The title of the new and final arc in the saga was quite intriguing. Post-war arc. Will the new arc include Ace and Luffy's childhood and a third unknown brother, you say? Oro Jackson sailed through the New World Sea without any resistance. Aboard, Roger was talking to Rob, who had come for a brief visit. Rouge was not around, and all Rob could see at this moment were Buggy and Shanks fighting Rayleigh in their rigorous training. That's right, Rob nodded with a smile. The last time, he had told Roger a little about the truth of the world for a simple experiment. He planned to see if telling someone such a thing would have any backlash or not. Something about the divine network that had sent him to this world, after all, he did not know if those gods were still watching his ongoing show or not. He had no way of knowing. But a little experiment didn't hurt. When he hinted to Roger about the truth of the world, without directly telling him, he didn't feel any backlash or anything like that. That gave him a feeling that whether this was the real One Piece world or another parallel world, it didn't matter, because it was a completely real world. I'm looking forward to seeing it then. It would be great to see Ace's past and how his relationship with Luffy formed. Readers all over the world will be happy too, especially Ace's fans. Roger replied with a smile. Come, let's share some sake, wahaha. We haven't celebrated the appearance of little Ace in my wife's womb yet. Roger let his playful spirit show at this moment and invited Rob to sit and celebrate. Rob did not refuse Roger's invitation, as they sat down and shared sake. Rob was also happy to know that Ace was about to appear in this world. The birth times of many key characters differed from the original story but still headed in the same direction. For example, after stealing the fate from Vince Smokejudge, he could make Sora conceive Sanji and Reiju at the same time, which was 8 months ago. Now Sora was about to give birth to the twins. Rob was extremely happy to become the father of another key character in the story. The same was true for Toki, who was also about to give birth to Hiyori. With the last 2 decades in this world's history approaching the manga's timeline, many pivotal characters began to appear. Even Dragon started allowing himself to be guided by fate, hoping to find Luffy's mother, as he began to explore the world more frequently recently. By the way, Garp was extremely happy about this. So, have you finally come to tell me about your game world? Roger asked with a smile. The launch of the game world is closer than ever. The world at that time will witness a drastic change, where their world will no longer be as appealing to live in, especially if they know this world is drowning, Rob said. You know. Roger's eyes widened when he heard that. What do you think? Rob replied with a wry smile. Well, that's expected from the author of One Piece. The Goa Kingdom on Dawn Island. Sir, the diagnosis is complete. Miss Didit is 1 month pregnant. Outlook 3 looked at the doctor with a happy smile and nodded with satisfaction. This news was exactly what he wanted to hear at this time. He desperately wanted an heir. When can the gender of the baby be determined? You know I want a healthy boy, doctor. Outlook 3 asked the family doctor. Naturally, we have to wait until the fetus completes 5 months of development, but in the world of devil fruits and fantasy, we can know the gender of the baby immediately. You can consult the Hunters Guild and provide a satisfactory reward mission. The right person with the strange ability to see the baby's gender in an instant will definitely come. Outlook 3 was surprised by the doctor's strange suggestion but certainly took it into consideration. Well, if Rob knew that, he would tell Outlook 3 not to rush because he would know his baby's identity in the next volume for sure. Wano country. You're saying that Rimuru managed to create such a magnificent city relying on a bunch of monsters? That's impossible. I would be a failed shogun if I lost to mere slime. Odin's face showed discontent as he saw the magnificent, organized buildings, concrete floors, and strange decorations everywhere in Rimuru's city known as Tempest Capital. The city is inhabited by a race of humanoid monsters in this magical world. Odin was a big fan of the manga Tensei Shirtera Slime Dotaiken, which was in its 30th chapter, releasing a chapter every week. Beside him, his wife Whitey Bay was also enjoying the events of the single chapter, which seemed short compared to One Piece's volume, which consisted of at least 40 chapters. Demon Lord Milene Nava? Is this little girl a demon lord? Impossible. PFFTT. What? Seeing how Milene managed to catch Cheyenne's huge sword with her bare hand, Odin quietly retracted his words. He knew Cheyenne's tremendous strength. Facing her like this meant that this little girl was not ordinary in any way. After that, Odin watched the losing battle involving Benimaru, Sui, and Cheyenne against Milene, but they all lost. Oh. Rimuru arrived. But why does the chapter always end at the great moment? It's called a cliffhanger, dear, Whitey Bay said with a smile. Cliff what? Odin wondered. Well, never mind. I'm off to work. I will build a city better than Rimuru's for sure. Chapter 767, Episode 88 of Naruto Shippuden. Across the entire world of the seas, the atmosphere was filled with excitement and anticipation. After the announcement of the 88th episode of Naruto Shippuden, people could not wait to watch it, especially the numerous Naruto fans scattered across all the islands. Everyone was in a state of eager anticipation, waiting anxiously to see what the new episode would bring, especially since the previous episode had left them on the edge of their seats, eager to know what would happen next. The world of Naruto, full of ninjas, tailed beasts, unusual phenomena, conflicts, and wars between the hidden ninja villages, was a world that many pirates, hunters, and ordinary people wished they could live in. In Ohara, Monday morning was lively. Those who were working focused on their tasks, while others enjoyed reading their favorite manga. Some found endless comfort in reading the new novels that had started selling in large quantities at the art store. Life was running smoothly for the island's residents, who had surpassed the Buster Call calamity without it ever happening in reality. Well, it happened in the manga world, but with Rob and his art store, the world government couldn't do what they used to do in the past anymore, nor could they do what they were supposed to do in the future as shown in the manga. Inside the great library in the Tree of Knowledge, Professor Clover was hearing the voice of the past once again through the countless poneglyphs he had obtained over the years of peace provided by Rob. Since the death of his older brother at the hands of government agents and his own survival by choosing to be a coward and deny any real connection to his brother, he had felt deep regret. This regret drove him to intensely research the voice of the past. The voice of the world submerged in the depths of the sea. Professor Clover muttered under his breath. As he was contemplating in silence, Zadie's lively voice interrupted his thoughts. Clover-san. A new episode of Naruto is about to start. Are you staying here? We're going to the nature pub to watch. The nature pub Zadie mentioned was a famous spot with no building, just chairs on the green grass and open air facing the art store screen, where residents enjoyed watching their favorite anime outdoors instead of going into the art store. Oh, is it a new episode of Naruto then? Let's go watch it. I hope it's as exciting as the last episode. The previous episode ended with Shikamaru finally overcoming Haiden, but everyone knew Haiden was immortal, so viewers wanted to see how Shikamaru would deal with that. In the heart of Ohara, crowds gathered in front of the massive screen that appeared above the high-end art store building. There was a diverse group of people, from children to adults, all glued to the screen, waiting for the episode to begin. Rob stood on his balcony in the art palace, observing the crowd's enthusiastic reaction. It seems people here can't get enough of anime, he said with a smile. Why don't you give them more anime then? Olivia said, also smiling. Oh, isn't Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Naruto, and One Piece enough already? After Arcane GA Kill ended, many want to replace it with a new anime. Is that so? Well, I'll see about that. After a while, silence deepened over the island as the viewers' emotions swayed with Shikamaru, who found Asuma's lighter after burying Haiden alive. The scene was full of emotions, especially after Shikamaru had just told Haiden he believed in the will of fire. I bet he'll start smoking, Olivia said, watching Rob light another cigarette at the scene. Well, he was his mentor after all. A teacher doesn't only teach good habits to his students, he can teach bad habits too. He smiled while blowing smoke from his cigarette. Wano Country. Thousands of miles away, in Wano Country, families of ninjas, samurais, and even ordinary people were engrossed in the events of episode 88, which revolved around the pursuit of two Akatsuki members, Haiden and Kakuzu. Shikamaru's ability to bring down Haiden on his own thrilled viewers and elevated his status in the hearts of Wano's ninjas, making them consider him a top-tier ninja worth learning from. I've never seen a ninja as smart as Shikamaru. What a man! Reizo was crying after seeing how the battle ended. Finally, we're done with Haiden. He was so annoying, damn it. Denjiro commented with disgust. Now the next one must be Kakuzu, right? Kinemon said. You guys are being emotional. Who said Kakuzu doesn't have an emotional past just like any character there? Don't judge characters by their appearance and backgrounds alone, the former shogun, Kazuki Sukiyaki, spoke up. Hearing this, Odin smiled and said, well, let's find out. The flower capital was extremely quiet at this moment because everyone was focused on the episode's events. As the minutes passed, the scene shifted back to Naruto and his companions fighting Kakuzu, who was incredibly resilient in battle. Elsewhere, the Moby Dick was sailing smoothly through the calm belt towards an unknown destination. On the deck, the scene of Naruto creating the wind style. Rasen Shuriken was reflected in Whitebeard's eyes once again. What a truly powerful technique. I'm looking forward to seeing its effects, said Whitebeard. Do you think it's strong, Oyaji? Certainly, this technique could kill an admiral if they didn't use haki for protection. Look, here's the crucial moment. Watch carefully how this strike will affect Kakuzu. The eyes of Whitebeard's sons widened as they watched Kakuzu being deceived. Episode's events. There. Kakuzu thought he had managed to get the real Naruto, but just seconds later, Naruto vanished in a puff of smoke, revealing it was a clone. What? That was a clone? Behind him, 3 Narutos appeared, one of them holding the dangerous Rasen Shuriken technique. He mixed himself in with the fakes? Kakuzu thought before being hit directly by the technique. Eat this. A devastating explosion of sharp winds occurred in a radius of 100 meters, leaving Kakashi, Kabuto, Choji, and Ino completely stunned. The blast's coming. Kabuto warned. Naruto fell a few meters from the explosion, which was ravaging Kakuzu's immortal body and destroying all his hearts. The number of attacks was unreal. Even with my Sharingan, I couldn't count them all. What a technique! Kakashi was amazed as he looked at Naruto. Ho dash! Incredible! Choji and Ino were both astonished. Naruto! You really have, thought Kakashi. There! I did it! Naruto smiled a victorious smile, giving a thumbs up. With this, the episode ended, leaving the viewers in awe. Whitebeard's crew was in shock. What an amazing technique, exclaimed Marco. Gorarara! I told you. This technique can rival a simple Quake Punch in terms of power. What a good episode, it has lifted many negative feelings from my heart. Shikamaru avenged Asuma, and Naruto managed to take down that scoundrel Kakuzu. This is good. I'm looking forward to the next episode. And I'm looking forward to finding that treacherous kid. The ship was heading straight towards finding Teach and those with him. Chapter 768, Aoi returns in its 4th season. Whitebeard wasn't the only one searching for Teach, Roger was looking for him too. In fact, Teach had become the focus of the entire world. But Teach wasn't the only one suffering from this attention. Sakazuki was also struggling. He had just escaped a frantic chase by some hunters he encountered at sea. These hunters were a mix of A and B ranks led by the legendary hunter, World, who narrowly escaped due to urgent intervention from Rob, after enduring much under the 3 admirals. They recognized him immediately and rushed to chase him down. He managed to escape, but just barely under their siege. Boom! What a disgrace! Angrily, Sakazuki slammed his hand against the wooden wall of his ship's cabin, causing it to crack. He hadn't expected that a simple mission to track down the Blackbeard pirates after the Impel Down incident would lead him to encounter a legendary hunter squad bolstered by dozens of skilled hunters at the level of vice admirals and higher. To top it off, the legendary hunter was the same one who failed to kill him a few months ago and held a blood feud with him. He had indeed escaped by a miracle. What a humiliation! The only way to wipe this disgrace is to destroy that hunter. Sakazuki was extremely angry, embarrassed by his need to flee with his tail between his legs. Who would have thought that the terrifying Marine Admiral, who burned half of Whitebeard's face and struck fear into readers and the entire world in the manga, would flee from a mere legendary hunter, not even one of the top ranks in his guild? If the one who had chased him was the number 1 in the guild, the king of hunters, Rob, it might have been somewhat acceptable. But he fled from a mere subordinate, and a weak one at that. When he remembered Rob, he glanced instinctively at his severed hand, now replaced by a mechanical arm. Hatred in his heart grew day by day. This arm was the price he paid after trying to kill World that day. Calm down, Sakazuki, you had no choice. The enemy was backed by many powerful hunters. You did the right thing by retreating, otherwise, the price you'd have paid would have been more than just an arm this time. On the Den Mushi, Sengoku tried to soothe Sakazuki. Try to return as quickly as possible. I've received news that the Whitebeard Pirates, Roger Pirates, and the Revolutionary Army have taken you as their target. Hearing this from the Fleet Admiral, Sakazuki's brow twitched. This time he didn't need to think much, he wished to reach the headquarters quickly. Why? Asked Sakazuki. Well, your existence is troubling for them. Clearly, they didn't like what your counterpart did in the manga. To prevent your counterpart from appearing in this world, they have to kill you. That's why I'm sure they all want to kill you, just as much as they want to kill Blackbeard. Let them all come, what they don't know is that I am already as strong as my counterpart or even stronger. Sakazuki clenched his fist, forming a burning magma fist that caused the Den Mushi in his hand to evaporate, cutting off the connection with Sengoku. So you all want to kill me? Why don't I come to you instead? Admiral. We've received some interesting news. Suddenly, Vice Admiral Doberman, who was very loyal to Sakazuki, entered. What is it? Sakazuki's fist returned to normal, and the ashes of the Den Mushi fell to the ground, the poor snail having turned to ash. We are a few miles away from Long Ring Long Land Island, where there's an art store. We've received news that a new episode of Attack on Titan is about to be broadcast. Should we stop by to watch it? Sakazuki felt his interest piqued upon hearing this. He was a fan of this anime, especially the main character who had changed dramatically after the historic third season. Go! I want to know what Eren will do. If World chooses to continue the chase, I'll kill him this time. Long Ring Long Land, then? Perhaps it is destined for you to die in this very place where I failed to kill you last time. Doberman shuddered upon seeing the murderous look in Akainu's eyes and nodded quietly before leaving. Seeing Doberman leave, Sakazuki quietly looked forward to the new episode of Aodi. He had always looked forward to seeing that boy's eyes, always appearing empty as if he had seen everything and anything, seen the bleak future, understood his purpose, and accepted the heavy justice he had to enforce, even though he didn't want to. Sakazuki always saw his reflection in Eren. Today's date was September 29, 1505, in the sea calendar, a very significant date because today marked the return of one of the greatest anime shows the people of the sea world had ever watched. Attack on Titan in its fourth season. The second part of the third season had ended 3 months ago with the Survey Corps successfully reaching the basement in Eren's house after reclaiming Wall Maria. They discovered the truth about the world outside the walls and the origin of the Titans, a shocking revelation for all Aodi fans. There was also the dramatic death of Commander Erwin Smith and Levi's choice to inject Armin instead of Erwin, saving him from death by giving him the power of the colossal Titan by transforming him into a Titan and having him devour Bertolt. The epic scenes at that finale caused massive excitement among fans, with discussions about the last episode continuing for many days. Today in Ohara, where all forms of art are revered, the first episode of the fourth season was about to begin. After the announcement of the trailer for the fourth season of the series, everyone was in a state of vigilance and anticipation. Today, 2 days after the airing of a Naruto episode featuring a fierce battle between Team Naruto and the two Akatsuki members, and the recent conclusion of the somewhat dull Golden Lion arc in One Piece anime, it was time for the first episode of Attack on Titan's fourth season to astonish everyone through the art store's screen. Do you really want to watch Eren? This anime is not suitable for children, dear. Rob had a gloomy expression as he saw Robin wiping her tears with a sad expression, and behind her was an army of children with similar teary expressions. They were all his children in one way or another. Even if it's a little bloody, and it scares me a bit when I see Titans eating humans, it doesn't mean I can't watch it, Dad. Little Robin made a small fist and bravely indicated to her father that she was not afraid and that the bloody scenes of Aodi didn't affect her at all. Yamato, Hancock, and the others did the same. This left Rob speechless and staring into the void. He had previously banned children from watching harsh anime like Akane ga Kill and Aote because they simply weren't suitable for children. He also gave adults the right to choose if they didn't want to watch. In this way, even though the giant screen was very prominent, they wouldn't be able to see or hear anything if they didn't want to and could sleep peacefully with the mere thought. But who would have thought he'd be reprimanded by his children? Who had been sent by O'Hara's children to speak on their behalf, and maybe children from all over the world? At this moment, Rob was caught between a rock and a hard place. It was impossible to let children watch such a deep anime with mature themes and a tragic ending. Maybe he would let them watch Attack on Titan, Junior High instead? Chapter 769, Episode 1 of AODS 4. The warship carrying Admiral Akaino came to a halt on the northern coast of Long Ling Long Land Island. The admiral observed numerous anchored ships and even a sea train at the station, disembarking a large number of passengers. The place was bustling with activity, as expected in an area featuring an art store. Adjusting his hat, the admiral disembarked from the ship. The reason for stopping here instead of rushing to Marineford was to watch the first episode of the 4th season of one of the greatest shows ever, Attack on Titan. There it is. Sakazuki's eyes fell on the art store's screen. Despite the distance, it grabbed attention in a way that made it impossible to ignore unless one was determined not to see it at all. Just as depicted in the manga, this island was merely a peculiar geographic spot where travelers occasionally stopped. It resembles an archipelago but is said to have been a single island in the past, most of which sank into the sea, said Vice Admiral Doberman, standing behind the admiral. The creatures here are ridiculously tall. Sakazuki and Doberman walked along the path toward the art store. Watching the episode inside would avoid any potential disturbances. Even if the legendary hunter caught up to them, he wouldn't be able to do anything inside the art store unless the owner personally intervened, which Akainu deemed unlikely. Sakazuki recalled Eren's intense gaze toward the sea. It was not an ordinary look, it seemed like that of someone who knew everything. The other side of the sea. It seems the 4th season will reveal everything, Vice Admiral Doberman remarked excitedly inside the art store. The atmosphere changed as hundreds of viewers gathered, and the screen lit up, displaying a blue sky. A bird flew under the sun, and someone began speaking, as if to the bird. It's dangerous here. You should fly. To a faraway place. A war. So, this place is a battlefield then. Is it on another continent? Who is this boy named Falco? The show started with gunfire and bloodshed, leaving viewers confused about what was happening. But Sakazuki remained focused on the screen, his expression unchanged. This anime had entered its final season, which meant it would unveil everything, the truth about the Titans, the world's size, the fate of Paradise Island, and the real identities of the demons and humans. Ha! The heir to the armored Titan? Here comes Reiner. So, he's returned to the Marley Empire. These young participants in the war are candidates to succeed Reiner? What does this mean? More importantly, didn't you notice what Falco said about flying with 2 swords and fighting the Titans? Isn't that exactly what Eren and his partners do? Strange. Sakazuki ignored the audience's comments and continued watching in silence until the unusually thrilling opening song began. Musical notes. Let's begin a new era from the womb of darkness. Musical notes. Musical note until the light reveals the end to mankind. Musical note. Musical notes. Sinful faces, multiplying calamities. Musical notes. Musical note. This is my last freedom. Musical note. Musical note. This is my war. Musical note. After the opening song titled My War ended, viewers were still under its spell. The song felt like a call to war. Even Sakazuki was mesmerized by its impact. Immediately after the epic opening song, the first episode spotlighted the candidates to succeed the current Special Titans, who were also revealed to be Eldians. Episode's events asterisk. The Armored Titan. Falco thought to himself. I wonder who they'll choose. Next to him, a girl spoke with a sarcastic tone. Falco looked at her and said, What's up, Gabby? You make it seem like none of us here are your match. Let's be realistic, is there anyone else besides me? The girl appeared confident in her abilities. True, when comparing Gabby to the rest of us. Another girl spoke. She definitely outshines us in achievements, continued another boy. It's not about the achievements, Udo. Haven't I told you this before? What sets me apart is my determination. Determination to carry the fate of all Eldians on my shoulders and exterminate all the demons of that island who caused us so much suffering. Gabby spoke harshly, so only righteous Eldians like us remain in this world. I'll win this war and prove it to everyone. I can't lose. I'll free everyone from the internment camps. Wait, what are you making over there? Falco asked. This? Isn't it amazing? Sakazuki narrowed his eyes as he watched the scene. Well, this girl is definitely going to be an enemy. This is what he concluded from Gabi's hateful and spiteful demeanor when speaking about the place where Eren grew up. She oddly resembles Sasha, Doberman added, commenting. It turns out the world is much larger than just walls and humans on the brink of extinction. This makes more sense. It seems the Marley Empire has been besieging the Eldians on Paradise Island for centuries. This means the true enemy is the Marleyans, not the Titans. The Titans are Eldians themselves. My goodness, this girl just admitted she's Eldian. So why does it seem like she's fighting alongside the Marleyans? This anime is full of mysteries. Shoo! Be quiet, let's watch the episode in silence. The viewer's curiosity grew with every additional minute of the episode. The fourth season began with intense events as expected. Ah! How will the people of Paradise Island face an entire empire with such terrifying weapons and numerous powerful titans without Commander Erwin? On Drum Island, Dr. Herolick was crying while watching the episode, remembering the fearsome leader, Erwin Smith, who died tragically in the previous season. His great leadership scene and inspiring words in the face of death were etched in the minds of everyone who watched that episode, and it seemed they would never be forgotten. I don't think Armin will even come close to replacing the legendary Commander Erwin. Forget it, it's impossible. Koreha added while drinking sake. Commander Smith was a true leader who could motivate the spirit of a coward and make him sacrifice his life. He had an extraordinary ability that an ordinary person would need a devil fruit power to match. Commander Erwin was not ordinary by any means. His death was so tragic. How will the Eldians on Paradise Island fare without him from now on? There's still Commander Levi and Eren too, and let's not forget Mikasa and Armin who got the colossal Titan's power. Despite mentioning all these exceptional characters, even Herolick couldn't feel at ease without Erwin Smith among them. On that day, when Erwin led his soldiers on horseback toward the Beast Titan who was throwing rocks at them, Herolick was moved to tears. All these warriors are Eldians, they all share the same blood as Commander Erwin, right? Look how they tremble in the face of war. That's because they're fighting for another country, they don't have a true leader or a real determination. They're all scattered, fighting because they want to live, but dying for that desire. You're starting to philosophize again, aren't you? Koreha mocked. Ha ha ha. This incredible anime always makes me ponder the reason for my existence whenever I watch it. This girl Gabby. That look in her eyes. It's frightening. Scenes of the fierce battle continued as Gabby successfully blew up the armored train track, eliminating a significant threat. The Jaw Titan and the Cart Titan appeared and slaughtered enemy soldiers in a cinematic scene, leaving viewers with shocked expressions at the sight of the bloody war. I don't know who is fighting whom in this war, and I don't understand the reason behind it, but I feel the Marleyans will win. Of course they will because they have the Titan's powers. They did all this, and the Armored Titan and Beast Titan haven't even joined the battle yet. Suddenly, with Zeke's shout, a golden glow appeared on the screen as dozens of people with expressionless faces who jumped from the flying airship began transforming into Titans. This scene left viewers in awe. The Titans are falling from the sky. In Ohara, Robin's eyes widened as she watched this astonishing scene. They're using ordinary Titans as weapons. Daughter! The upcoming scenes will definitely scare you. I don't recommend watching. No. I'll watch it for sure. I won't be scared. Hearing this, Rob was speechless. Minutes later, Rob was patting the backs of Robin, Yamato, and Hancock, who were trembling with fear in his arms. Didn't I tell you the upcoming scenes were frightening? Of course, they were, as the titans who fell from the sky began devouring enemy soldiers savagely, with blood and limbs flying everywhere. The enemy's fortress turned into a bloody hell. War brings no good, don't you agree? After transforming into the Beast Titan, Zeke picked up dozens of shells from the fallen fortress that had already been lined up. The Whitebeard pirates watched this scene from their ship. No one spoke. The event's harmonious soundtrack was so wonderful that it drew Whitebeard and his sons deeply into the scene. Dozens of ships appeared in the nearby sea, and the Beast Titan seemed to be targeting them. Thus, the war has finally ended. With the episode's end, the Whitebeard pirates felt as if they had just left this world. Wars? In any world where humans exist, wars are inevitable. Does this mean we are the source of all evils? Whitebeard sighed with regret after the episode ended. Chapter 770, Akainu Besieged. As the unique episode of Attack on Titan concluded, the crowd began to disperse among all the art stores, each person going their own way. Meanwhile, the ship of the Hunters Guild, bearing a logo that struck awe into the hearts of allies before foes, docked at Long Ring Long Land Island's pier. It seems the dog has tired of running. Don't tell me he stopped to gaze into Aaron's green eyes? Unfortunately, it seems Aaron did not appear in the first episode. World, with his bald head, stared hatefully into the horizon. After seeing the warship docked at the pier without any camouflage, World knew Akainu was there and was not planning to escape. Well, that's good. Today I will avenge what happened in the past. If it weren't for Rob's treatment at that time, even if he had survived, his body would have been marred, making it difficult to look at him due to the severe burns particularly caused by Akainu. Brindy World still remembered the pain of the burn from Akainu's magma even at this moment. Are you planning a fight to the death, World? Before World could jump from the ship onto the pier, suddenly someone emerged from the ship's hull, dressed in a gentleman's suit. Redfield, stay out of what doesn't concern you, this is my fight. World snorted. Yes, it's your fight, I'm just here as a backup. If what happened last time happens again, I'll intervene to prevent you from dying. Redfield said that politely, making it difficult to understand whether he was mocking World or not. Do as you please, I won't lose anyway. Upon saying that, Brindy World jumped from the ship and was followed by the top hunters of rank A and B from his team. Who would have thought that due to his harsh loss against the three admirals, he would lose his top rank in the list of legendary hunters? He had already lost his top ranking to Douglas Bullet, who took advantage of his injury and challenged him. Of course, Brindy World did not refuse the fair challenge and agreed. Then he lost badly and the rankings were rearranged. Bullet remained in the top rank for a full day before Belmere took the initiative to overthrow him from the top spot and took his place. After that, Olivia challenged her and took the top spot from her. Bullet did not dare to challenge Olivia, nor did World attempt to regain the top spot, and the ranking remained as it was since then with Olivia at the top. But the main reason for this was Akainu, Akiji, and Kizaru. If they had not conspired against him and nearly caused his death, he would still be maintaining his top rank, and not be looked down upon as being from the middle ranks by Akainu. Now I will take revenge on you first. You should thank me for sending you on your way before Roger or Whitebeard catch you, you wild dog. Brindy World stood in front of the art store gate, waiting for Akainu to emerge. With their loss in the war, the Middle Eastern Federation signed a peace treaty with Marley. Under these circumstances, Akainu knew that the upper hand in this type of agreement would be for the winning party in the war, where they would benefit from everything available without paying much in return. And the loser must endure silently. The power of the Titans resembles the powers of the devil fruits in our world. Luckily for them, the number of special Titans is very few. Hearing that from the Admiral, Doberman nodded. I wonder how Aaron will deal with the Marley Empire. Clearly they are his only enemies so far. It will be a fierce war perhaps. How do you know? Perhaps Aaron will be the biggest threat facing this world. Akainu stared into the horizon. The person who lost everything will not hesitate to destroy everything. No one knows whether he was talking about Aaron or himself. After saying this, Akainu's gaze fell on the art store's gate. Let's go, Doberman. If trouble happens, retreat quickly back to the warship and be ready to call for support. What? Do you expect they have caught up with us? It's not unlikely. That man thinks he is the only madman in this world. It's over now, you can lift your heads, children. In O'Hara, Rob patted the heads of Robin and the rest of his children who were still trembling from the bloody scenes of the Titans devouring the soldiers of the Middle Eastern Federation. Ha! It's finally over? Oh my god, this is scary. Will the fourth season of AOT be this horrifying? Little Robin tilted her small head and wondered with a frightened look. Yamato, Hancock, Sonia, Mari, Makino, and the others had the same expression. Well, this is the final part of the anime, such scenes will be intense, that's why I don't recommend children to watch this anime. Rob smiled in response. But it's a very good anime and the story is interesting. I love Aaron and Mikasa and Armin. I want to see how their story ends and if they will have a happy ending. Well, you can continue watching, I won't care anymore. Your father has work to do, I'm leaving now. Where are you going? Mother Toki and Mother Sara are about to give birth and here you are thinking about running away again. Ha ha ha. No, little one, I know exactly when I need to be around, don't worry, you can go and check on your mothers if you'd like to do that. Belmir, I have a task for you, dear. Rob stood behind Bella who was working in Amazon Lily where he appeared suddenly. What do you want me to do for you, dear? After giving him a long kiss, she licked her lips and asked with a seductive and demure look. Go to Long Ring Long Land and beat Brindy World for me, if he tries to rebel hit him more, as for Akainu don't worry about him, I've promised Roger in Newgate that I won't interfere in their affairs, Rob said with a smile. Is that all? She wondered. Yes, Rob replied. Okay, I will do that with great pleasure. A spirited smile appeared on her face. She had always wanted to beat the person who was at the top of the list just to show him that he did not deserve to be there. She did not expect that she would have the opportunity now that the man was no longer in the first rank anymore. Don't forget to come back quickly. The first episode of the second season of Demon Slayer will also be broadcast today, as you know. I guess you have a lot of work today, dear. I don't care. What I care more about is the work I will do at night to please you. She approached him and whispered in a low voice before she walked quietly towards the instant transport room. Long Ring Long Land Island. The eyes of the people watching what was happening behind the art store barrier widened, as they swallowed their saliva in awe. If hell existed, would it be less similar to this? The explosions in volcanic lava erupting here and there and rivers of lava took winding paths toward the sea and destroyed everything on the horizon. A tall man with dark green mustaches stared hatefully at Akainu, whose half-body had turned into lava. Why did you come out of your fortress, little pup, mocked World? To bite the scum like you, Akainu replied coolly. Saying that, Akainu clenched his lava fist. Let this pup, as you say, show you hell. Hell? Your lava can only light birthday cake candles, as Whitebeard once said. World picked up a rock on the side of the road and simply threw it towards Akainu. 100 times the size, 100 times the speed, 100 times the mass. Taste the real hell. The ordinary stone transformed into a massive, fast, and heavy mountain of mass destruction 100 times its original size and headed directly towards Akainu. TSK, what an annoying ability. Die Funka. His right hand turned into pure magma and swept the accelerated stone heading towards him. Boom! A devastating explosion swept the horizon, but it did not affect the people who were watching the battle from inside the art store barrier. That wraps up this part of What If Becoming a Mangaka in One Piece World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.